So this is the tutorial for Photoshop. The first thing that you're going to want to do is find an image that you want to work with. You're welcome to use the dinosaurs and other images that I showed before. I'm looking at this one and it's 741 by 486 pixels. If it's much smaller than that, it can be a problem. That's 980, 980. That one looks really good. Nice size. Nice size on that one. If you have a size much below 1,000, it becomes a problem. I'm going to go with this image, and I'm going to right click. I'm going to copy the image. I go to Photoshop. I'm going to create new, and I'm going to make sure that it says 8-bit. I'm going to change my pixels to inches so that I have an idea of how big it really is, and I'm going to change my resolution to 300. You should do the same. I'm going to hit Control V as in Victor to bring the image in, and then I'm going to hit Control T as in Tom to stretch my image out. At this point, you can feel free to import new images, but I'm just going to play with this one. I'm now going to go to my layer 1, and I'm going to relabel this sunset, just so that I know what's on that particular layer. And I'm going to start going through some of the basic functions with you. So I'm going to use the magic wand, which is W, and I'm going to try selecting, let's try here. Okay, it's not selecting too much. If I want to select more stuff, I just hold down Shift. So I'm going to try to select a bunch of this stuff. What this tends to work really well with is things that are more solid color. This is not sampling well. So I'm going to deselect, Control D. And I'm going to hold down on my selection tool. I'm going to go to Quick Selection. From here, I'm going to try to just select the mountains. Now I'm holding down my mouse, and notice how went a little bit too far there. So I can always go to the minus and minus out some of the selection. Now I go back to the plus, and it sort of sees what's there. So I have all those mountains selected. Okay. From here, I'm going to hit Control C, copy, Control V to paste. Made a new layer. I'm going to go through that layer, and I'm going to change that to mountains. Now to know what it did, I'm going to shut off my sunset layer by hitting the eyeball. And now I'm going to alter those mountains. There are a bunch of ways to do this. First one is under Image. I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, and I'm going to try Invert. It inverts all the colors. That's what it does. Don't particularly like it. I'm going to hit Control Z to go backwards. The idea of this is for you guys to just play and see what this does. I'm going to try Saturation and Hue. Okay, now this could get interesting, but I got to find something that I like. I guess I'll go with that. I'm not entirely fond of this. Ew. I can make them black and white by going down on the saturation. Still don't like it, I'm going to cancel it. So that's one way to do alterations on it. Next one is you can go to Filter. We've played with the filter gallery. And I'm going to go down to Stained Glass because that's the one I like. I'm going to go with that. That I like, it's kind of cool. All right. So from here, I could play with more filters. I could make them change. One note, don't mess with the 3D. It gets complicated, weird, and it eats up memory like crazy. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this off. And I want the mountains to come through a little bit. So I'm going to go to the layer, and I'm going to turn down the opacity. Maybe so that it just does a little tiny bit there. And I'm okay with that. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to deal with the water. Again, I'm going to go to my Quick Selection tool, W, and I'm going to select my water. It's not working because I'm on the mountains, not on this layer. If you get confused, you can shut off layers so you don't even have to deal with them. There we go. And now I will go through and try to select the water. It's probably going to select some sunflowers too. There's ways around how to deal with that. So I'm going to select through here. Good enough. Okay. Just like before, I'm going to hit Control C, Control V. I can turn back on my mountain layer, and I'm going to layer this one water. And I know this filter exists, so I'm going to go Filter, and I want to go to Distort. I'm going to try Ripple because it's water. I can't see anything right now, so I need to go backwards, minus. And I'm going to pump that ripple way up. Let's see what I get. I'll try that. So it did ripple it. Not as much as I'd like. We can go backwards. That's what it was before. So the water's pretty rippled. So I'm going to try again another filter. And I'm going to try glass. Now that's pretty cool. I'm going to go up to there. There are different ways. Ooh, I like that. Let's try that. That looks kind of cool. So I'm going to leave the distortion like that. And at this point, I'm going to just start messing with a few other things. Let's go with the burn tool. Maybe this looks too light. I need something a little bit darker. I can use a bigger brush. And what this is going to do is it's going to darken the shadows by 53%. But only the shadows. There we go. And only the layer that you're on. There we go. A little bit more intense. I'm liking that. Yeah, let's leave that. Okay. The other thing I can do is I can go to Dodge. Dodge is going to do the exact opposite. It's going to lighten things. Need to make sure I'm on the right layer. And it'll lighten it as much as I want. Okay, so that's a couple of the basic tools. Let's go on to the clone tool. Okay. So the clone tool is operated the following. It's S, and I'm going to click on it. I'm going to go up here to try to show you what it does. And the first thing I need to do is I'm going to hold down Alt. Alt makes a bullseye. I'm now going to left click. It selected the area in that bullseye. Now, notice how it's duplicating the area which is next to the bullseye. What it's going to do is it's now going to duplicate that area. Now, obviously, that looks terrible, but one of the things I can do is drop my opacity, and I made a mistake again. I can try to drag that up a little bit. Maybe I want some clouds up in here. So instead of using that brush, maybe I'll use this one. This could get really cool. Okay, let's make this brush bigger. Not there. That looks pretty cool. Maybe instead of normal mixing, I'll go to... Let's try color burn. A little different. Can try down here. It's doing a little something, not too much. There we go. So I continue to mess with that. Now, the most important feature with this is right down here, layer masks. Or in this case, it says new fill adjustment. So in order to do this, I'm going to take and how do I want to deal with this time? I'm going to go to my mountain mask, my mountain layer. I'm going to go down, and I'm going to use an invert layer. Okay. Now what it just did is it applied a layer to everything. It inverted all of the colors. Notice how this is white. Over here is black, and I have a black brush right now is what I have, but I want it normal. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to color. Oh, I'm trying to do the stamp tool. It needs to be on the brush tool. Okay, so I'm going to go to the brush, and I still want to use this brush Notice when I click, and I'm just going to color in, it's coloring in to the previous layers. Where that black is, and this is sort of hard to explain, is where the sunset is. So see how it's starting to change it. It's starting to go back to where the sunset was. Now I'm going to undo that by Control Z for a little while. And I'm going to make my brush bigger. And I'm going to try right here. That's what I have. And I'm going to try that one more time. Let's try twice. There we go. Nice and bright. Ooh, and it got a little bit shaky. So I'm still going to go backwards. And I'm going to keep on clicking. There we go. Nice and bright. Now I'm going to come up here. Nice and bright. And maybe one up here too. Okay. So now with my invert layer, I can go back and I could make, I could add in white again and reverse what I did. So now it's going backwards. I hope this makes some sense. So I got this far. You know, at this point, I got to figure out what I want to do. It's getting really abstract. Other things that I can do at this point, I could come in with my circle, and maybe I want all of this to be the same. So I'm going to put a giant circle in the middle. It selects that circle. I'm on the layer mask, and I'm going to use black. And it's going to bring it back to here. Or I'm going to flip them, and let's do this. That looks pretty nice. Deselect. Now I have that. So a whole load of things I can do. Now, what I'd like you to do at this point is, you know, if you like it, please save it. But go back. Why don't I try a different layer mask? Let's try color balance. That's kind of nice. Maybe. Sci-fi. I'll go with that. All right, so let's try that. And now I'll do the same thing. I'll come in with black, and let's bring that back to a different color. It's getting really colorful now. Okay. Now, I did this with a landscape. Well, what if I want to pull something a little bit different in? I can always go over, and I'm going to go to my drive. What do I have here? Let's bring in a goat. I right click, I'm going to open with, and I can open it with Photoshop. It's not going to work for me. My program's a little bit different. So I'm going to have to go to here. I'm going to go to my Google file stream. And where was that goat? Here, goat. I know he's in here. Ooh, pineapple. Okay, so I'm going to open up the goat. I'm going to hit Control A to select all, Control C to copy. Now I'm going to go here and hit Control V. That's one huge goat. I need to hit Control T to transform him. Need to make him fit the frame. Okay, so I want my goat in the center. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the eraser. Make a nice big eraser. Let's get rid of that. I want that background gone. Okay, so let's go there. I just want the goat's face. So I'm actually going to make that ring again. Right around his face. That selects just his face, right? Now I'm going to go to select inverse, so it selects the background. Go to my brush, and I painted. Didn't mean to paint. Control Z. Go to E for erase. There we go. Now I have him. I hit Control D to deselect. I'm on my first layer. And I'm going to put my goat in the center. And how about we'll go to image adjustments, invert. That was terrible. So I'll undo that. Image adjustments, saturation, and hue. Now he seems like he's going with it a little bit more. There we go. That seems to work out, really perfect.